Governor Greg Abbott spoke at the West Texas Legislative Summit at Angelo State University today, while protesters outside the summit expressed their dislike and disdain for our governor. Also, the real scoop on how a major airline will provide some Angelo State University students with a pathway to earn six-figure incomes shortly after graduation. It will change family trees, said Angelo State University President Ronnie Hawkins. Finally, the Turnpike Troubadours are coming to the San Angelo River Stage tomorrow night. I'm Joe Hyde, and welcome to Live. We'll get to the news in a minute, but first, this show is brought to you by Myers Drug and Boutique. For ladies, whether you're traveling, partying, or traveling or partying or working, Katie Loxton has a selection of bags that are made of vegan leather and can be personalized, giving the extra luxury to your everyday style. Myers Boutique is the only spot in San Angelo where you can get these extremely fashionable bags. They are located at the corner of Chadburn and Beauregard in the center of historic downtown San Angelo. You can shop there Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturdays, 10 to 2. See more at myersdrug.com. We kick off things at the West Texas Legislative Summit. The Chamber's annual summit began this morning, and many important figures in the Texas state and federal government were in attendance, including Congressman August Pfluger and Governor Greg Abbott, along with State Senator Charles Perry and State Representative Drew Darby. Abbott spoke on the border crisis in Texas. In just 2 years, Texas went from the lowest number of border crossings in decades to the highest number of border crossings ever. Former President Donald Trump tried to secure the border during his term in office, but immigration and extreme measures got in the way with the Joe Biden administration. Abbott brought up the tragic occurrence where 50 immigrants were found dead in the back of an 18-wheeler in San Antonio. But it might not be all about the immigrants coming here. What some criminals bring with them is fentanyl, a dangerous narcotic that has skyrocketed overdoses in Texas. Abbott had this to say about the deadly drug.
One of the things that's coming across the border is not just migrants being smuggled, but it's deadly fentanyl. If you haven't heard about this, you need to know about it, because I can tell you for a fact it exists here in San Angelo, Texas. It exists in every town in West Texas. Fentanyl, 2 milligrams of fentanyl is a deadly dose. By comparison, it would be as small, if not smaller, than 2 grains of salt is a deadly dose of fentanyl. Just in the past 18 months, law enforcement across Texas, just Texas law enforcement, they have seized enough fentanyl to kill every man, woman, and child in the entire United States of America.
And the Legislative Summit continues today until 4:30 p.m. But outside, while Abbott was speaking, inside the Angelo State University Convention Center there, just outside ASU this morning, protesters gathered to express their dislike of Governor Greg Abbott. San Angelo Live received a message through Facebook Messenger inviting us to the protest. One of the protesters, Bonnie Guess, spoke with us about why she was against Abbott and his policies. You don't want to see this on your local, you won't see this on your local TV news station. Warning, she's a little rough.
I am a resident of San Angelo, Texas, and I am here with these lovely people today protesting Greg Abbott and his harmful policies for the state of Texas. We are one of the highest states in this country that with a foster system. We have over 47,000 kids in the foster system as of 2020. It's higher now. And he passed the heartbeat bill to try to force anyone to have a baby who does not want to have a baby. And just his solution is just put them up for adoption. Well, That's a really bad option. We can't take care of the kids we have right now. He is defunding education. He is a mouthpiece for the NRA and gun lobbyists. He does not take climate change seriously, even though we are literally living through a record year of triple-digit heat. We can't grow things. We can't feed ourselves independently in this country because of that. And all he cares about is getting money from his lobbyists. And we're sick of it, and we're ready to vote for Beto.
All right, and why here? Why today?
Because he is here for this summit, and we are hoping that if he doesn't see, at least his henchmen will. And so he knows that even in this red town, that there are blue dots that will be voting in November to get his ass out of office.
Abbott is facing re-election on November 8th, and he's running against Democrat Beto O'Rourke, who is really drilling down on those issues, particularly in the post-Roe versus Wade environment. Also, Abbott has dealt with a number of other issues, including gun control. After that tragedy at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, where a gunman claimed the lives of 22 students and teachers, in the post-Roe versus Wade world, Abbott is dealing with the abortion issue. When the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, it gave power back to the states, and our state legislature and governor have to deal with it. While we're on the subject of Angelo State, students at ASU can make six-figure annual salaries within 5 years of graduating. Take that, student loans. Yesterday, the Angelo State Commercial Aviation Program partnered with Southwest Airlines to help its students get on the fast track to the right seat of a Southwest Boeing 737. The program is called Destination 225. Vice President of Flight Operations Lee Kennebrew and ASU President Ronnie Hawkins announced the program Wednesday afternoon.
Currently, Southwest has more than 400 firm orders for the new Boeing MAX 737 aircraft that will be delivered in the years ahead. As a result, we plan on hiring nearly 1,200 pilots this year and thousands more over the next decade. To help accomplish this program and this goal, we created our Destination 225 program.
One of the things that we have a focus here at Angelo State is making sure, and I'm going to coin a phrase that from our provost, Dr. Don Topcliffe, we want to change family trees for people who are coming into Angelo State, and when they leave, we want to be able to change family trees for the better. And one of the ways that we can do that is through this career path that could be provided to many of our students in the airline industry, starting with Destination 225.
In other news, in San Angelo, a man was indicted last month for capital murder. According to court documents, Micah Saldivar intentionally and knowingly caused the death of Jacob Hernandez. Hernandez was shot in the chest and killed last year at Nueva Vista Apartments. From our previous reporting, two men, David Rodriguez and Francisco Morales, went to Saldivar to obtain a pistol when they traveled to the apartment complex to commit a crime. The police seized Saldivar's phone and discovered that Rodriguez was involved in the murder and that they were going to attempt a robbery. Two other unnamed suspects were also involved. The exact charge against Saldivar is capital murder by terror or other threat. Capital murder is murder, but it involved in aggravated circumstances, in this case, a robbery. It is a capital felony and punishable by life in prison without parole or the death penalty. Saldivar is currently in the Tom Green County Detention Facility. And now for some good news. These are the final days of the Wild West Fest, the week-long music series. San Angelo's own Case Harden performed last night at the house of Fifi Dubois. Tonight, you can catch Corey Kent, who's a new and rapidly rising star in the Texas country music scene, at Blaine's Pub, located at 10 West Harris Street in downtown San Angelo. Tickets are still available on blainespub.com. Tomorrow night at the Bill Ayler River Stage, you can still buy tickets for the Turnpike Troubadours, who are back this year after a hiatus. Turnpike took about a 2-year break while a band member was dealing with addiction. In November of 2021, Turnpike, as they are called, announced their return to the concert trail. Nationally, Turnpike has sold out every concert this year, and the Rolling Stone reported that the show will make grown men cry. Tickets to see the Troubadours or Turnpike Friday night in San Angelo are $100 for general admission, $250 for VIP. If you buy them online, and you got to buy them before midnight today before the price goes up. Tomorrow the price goes up, and you can still go to sanangelolive.com and click on a banner ad for Wild West Fest at the top of any of our pages to get tickets. When we come back, Andy Vecellio for the Water Resources Department at the city joins our show to talk to our own Yantis Green about San Angelo's water supply and how it is handling this extremely hot weather and our drought. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Area of lakes. Sure. Where do we stand there?
So our primary water source, surface water, is from OHIV, which was regulated by the Colorado River Municipal Water District.
Okay.
We get approximately 20 million gallons per day from them, or can. We have that capability of doing so.
Okay.
So that's sitting right now approximately about 44% full of capacity.
Okay. That's good.
Absolutely it is. It's especially with the drought we've had recently. We still have approximately 52 months as of June 1st. We have that much water availability, which is predictive on no additional rain.
That's the number that everybody wants to know is how much water do we have left? How much longer do we have? Yeah. And 52 months is pretty good. It seems like this drought lasted a long time, but in reality, it's just been a couple of months.
It really has. It's been really hot lately.
Yeah.
But that rain we had probably 3-4 years ago, that really filled the reservoirs up from even lower levels than they are now.
Yeah.
Filled them up to about 80% for OHIV and Twin Buttes.
Okay.
And that really really helped us out, setting us moving forward.
All right, so we've talked about Ivy. Let's kind of get a handle on where Twin Buttes and Nasworthy and O.C. Fisher are.
So Nasworthy, we generally keep around the 85 to 95%, and that's filled by Twin Buttes.
Yeah, we keep it regulated with Twin Buttes water.
Correct. And Twin Buttes is now about 38%.
Okay.
And so,
yeah, you can, when you drive out there over the dam, the equalization channel is not running anymore.
Correct.
It's sure a good sight to see water in there for as long as it was.
Yes. Oh, absolutely it was. But at this point, we're down to 38%, which is still better than it was, 4 years ago.
And even in this drought, the South Concho River, which feeds into the South Pool, is still running.
Yes, it is.
So it's not, I don't know if we're losing ground or gaining ground, but it's kind of static.
Yeah, well, obviously we have to discharge through Lake Nasworthy into the Concho River downstream. So in general, and plus evaporation. Evaporation takes a huge amount of water.
It's amazing how much water evaporates in weather like this. Triple-digit heat, you've got wind and low humidity. It just, and we were talking earlier, sometimes you almost have to use it or lose it.
Yeah, you really do. And I'd mentioned to you before that I did a evaporation calculation in college.
Yeah.
A long, long time ago, of course. And when I did that, I was really surprised at how much evaporation loss occurred. It's just unbelievable.
Especially out here, in the desert, it's a very significant portion of the water goes to evaporation.
Yeah, especially low humidity, high temperatures, winds, things like that.
Yeah. And O.C. Fisher on the north Concho, that river has stopped flowing, and the reservoir is evaporation's taking its toll there.
Yes, it's about 4% right now.
4%.
I think 3 years ago it was approximately 12%. After that, we'll call it the rainy season,
Yeah.
you know, for about a year.
Yeah.
And I think 4 years ago it was about 9%. So we've even lost ground for quite a while.
And was it 2011 that it was actually dry?
2011 was when the real drought hit.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and that had significant impacts.
And now that's the surface water. Now San Angelo also has the benefit of having groundwater.
That is
which
correct.
Is water that comes from well fields, and the primary source is the Hickory Aquifer.
Yes.
So where are we there? How is that water supply?
So currently we can produce 8 million gallons per day from the Hickory well field. We have a project that has started within the last, we'll say less than a year, and that's to increase the capacity from 8 million gallons a day to 12 million gallons a day.
Okay.
And so we're basically adding 50% additional capacity. We are currently having a contractor drilling the wells, and we're looking at completion probably between a year and 2 years from today for the
Okay.
whole project.
All right. So we're in good shape as far as that groundwater source goes.
Yes.
And of course, at the legislative summit this morning at ASU, they were talking about water supplies and long-term water for everybody for the state of Texas. And we have some projects in the works. What does San Angelo have in the works right now?
So I mentioned the Hickory project, and again, that's under construction. The next one, and we're in the permitting phase of this, and it's called the Concho River Project.
Right.
And what we're doing with the Concho River Project is called indirect reuse. So we are upgrading our wastewater plant, upgrading the water plant, or will be. So
Okay.
again, we're in a permitting phase. And so we will have a higher quality effluent out of the wastewater plant,
Right.
which will then go into Concho River, flow downstream approximately 7 to 8 miles.
Okay.
And then it can be pumped back to the head of the plant for the water plant.
Okay.
And we're going to be doing some plant upgrades at the water plant as well as the wastewater plant to be able to, again, do the indirect reuse of our effluent.
And so that's not, I say it's nowhere close, but it's basically 2031, I think, is sort of the time frame. But the permitting process is extensive.
Absolutely.
And that water right now is going to the irrigation canal farmers out there.
Correct.
And it's being used on cotton crops currently. So there are the water sources. So we've got about 52 months of supply. When do tougher water restrictions kick in?
So right now we're under standard conservation methods.
Okay.
Which is for the summer months, that is twice a week you can water, up to no more than an inch per week. And then outside the hours of noon to 6 p.m.
Okay.
So you don't want to water during the middle of the day, obviously,
During the
because of
heat of the day.
evaporation. Absolutely.
Okay.
And so with those restrictions, and also you can't have runoff from your irrigation more than 150 feet down a road, down an alley,
Yeah,
down
yeah.
a gutter, so on and so forth. The drought level 1 kicks in at 24 months of available water supply, so
Okay.
2 years.
Yeah.
Then it kicks into drought level 2 at 18 months, drought level 3 at 12 months. And each of those levels of drought obviously create more stringent irrigation requirements.
Okay. And so for now, we're in the standard conservation
Correct.
portion, and it would take an extended drought for us to get to where tougher restrictions kick in.
Right.
And that would be a couple of years worth of drought to get there.
Right. And you look at it from the 52 months as of June 1st. So we'll say where we're at now, approximately 48 months, 4 years. The drought level 1 is, say, 2 years down the road. But again, there's some, say calculations involved in that, and that would include no additional precipitation.
Yeah.
So we're going to say plus or minus 2 years, I would
Okay.
say, is what we have available before we go more stringent on the drought. Now, that being said, of course, again, there's a lot of external circumstances that could impact it. So
Yeah.
it could be longer, it could be shorter.
Yeah, and you never can tell whether you're going to have a dry year or a dry summer and a wet winter, and there's just a lot that can happen over 2 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We get questions and comments a lot about water main breaks, and of course, as dry as it's been, extended periods of heat and no rain, the ground cracks, and that affects aging infrastructure.
Absolutely, it does.
So when you've got water main breaks, that's just a normal thing, normal part of the system.
Yeah, absolutely. And weather conditions obviously impact the ground conditions. So under these hot, dry conditions, you see a lot of the ground cracking. It's low moisture. And so that will cause some slight shifting in there.
Yeah.
And when you have water mains that are in there, they could create, could slip apart a little bit or create a leak, breaks, things like that. And that's something that we battle on a daily basis.
Yeah, and especially, I know they're working on College Hills. They're doing some infrastructure stuff there. But along the Red Arroyo and along the river where you've got dry soil and then you've got wet soil, the ground just shifts.
Yes.
It just shifts, and that affects infrastructure. You've got a couple of phone numbers for folks if they have other questions.
Certainly, yeah. The two numbers that I did want to provide to the public is, first of all, if you are seeing, I mentioned the water restrictions. It's also on our website, which is COSA TX, and you do /water, you'll get to the water utilities page. So if you see an issue with somebody not following the water conservation, the irrigation requirements, please contact code enforcement, and that number is 325-657-4409. If you see a leak, please contact water distribution at 325-657-4295. That phone number has access 24 hours a day. Now, it's not manned 100% of the time in the evenings, but it goes to our water plant, and they can report it to our on-call crews.
Okay.
That way, if you suspect a water leak, we can go out there and try and get it taken care of quickly, because when you lose water to the ground, that takes a bigger hit on our water supply.
That's right. Of course, we could talk about water for days.
Oh, absolutely.
But we're kind of limited by time here. Andy, is there anything that is keeping you up at night? Anything that you want to add before we go?
Well, I think the one message that I would say is, even though we're in standard conservation, even though we talked about the 52 months of water supply available, especially in West Texas, we got to understand that water is precious.
Yeah.
And even when we have the we'll call it the abundance of 52 months, which really isn't an abundance,
Yeah.
we need to be very conscious of how we use that water. Please don't waste it, because every little drop makes a big difference.
That's right. And we're all in this together. So it's not just the folks who live in the city of San Angelo. The folks on rural water systems, everybody that has water coming out of their tap is affected.
Absolutely.
And we all have to work together. Andy, thank you for coming by, and thanks for that great information. We'll be calling you back as the drought goes on.
Well, hopefully the next time you come back, we have a little more rain, a little more water in our reservoirs.
All right, love to be able to do that. All right, we will be right back.
When it comes to unique pieces you can't find anywhere else, Kano's Diamonds and Coins is your one-stop shop. With over 24 years in the diamond and coin industry, Kano's Diamonds and Coins is West Texas's choice for diamonds, jewelry, coins, silver, and gold. Owner Bill Kano stands by his work and offers free consultations, including estate jewelry. Don't just trust anyone with your valuables. Come see the staff at Kano's at 1016 West Beauregard in San Angelo.
And we're back. Well, thank you, Yantis and Andy Vecellio at the City Water Department to talk about what's happening there. This is San Angelo Live News. We're your local guys. We're not from some big corporate media operation. We're not woke. We're here to give you real, raw, and solutions journalism. This daily show starts at 4 p.m. every day, and it's streamed live on YouTube, Facebook, our sanangelo.live.com, and Twitter. We invite you to join us every day. If you miss us, you can still look for us on our news feed, or go to the homepage of San Angelo Live. It's always the latest video right underneath the top story. But anyway, my name is Joe Hyde. I'm the publisher and creator of SanAngeloLive.com. Thank you for joining us.